either, so she's just really excited for this time with Peter and for that champagne. And if anything bad happens to this champagne, Kelsey will lose it. So Kelsey goes and sets up the bottle of champagne outside, and as she's going back into the house to get her man, she discovers the Canadian fashion blogger McKenna has already stolen him. She got to spend half a date with him already. She can't just do that. So Kelsey waits until McKenna comes back. McKenna comes back holding a bottle of maple syrup and whipped cream for reasons unknown. Perhaps that's just what all Canadians have on their person at all times. Kelsey says, "Hey girl, want to have a chat?" McKenna already on the verge of tears just at that question, which is something I strongly identify with. Kelsey says, "Hey, it was disrespectful, McKenna, that you got to pull Peter when I was looking forward to drinking my champagne with him." And McKenna says, "Right, I totally hear you and respect you. I was actually just pulling him for some quick maple syrup fun right now, so that Kelsey, you would have plenty of time with him later on. Please don't be mad at me, Kelsey."
Time later tonight, like a night. What's the difference in me stealing him now and stealing him later? I'm still gonna have that.
Kelsey isn't buying that. She says, "Don't make excuses."
I feel like there's a disrespect and you disrespected me.
And at the end of the day, does Kelsey think McKenna is a lying little snake who stole her moment?
Do I think she's a snake and sneaky? Yeah, absolutely.
Kelsey is now distraught.
I don't tolerate snakes. I don't like them. They're my least favorite animal.
One of the other girls, Alea, helps hype Kelsey up, and she reapplies Kelsey's makeup so that Kelsey is once again ready to pop open that cold bottle of champagne with her man. So Kelsey is outside sitting with the other girls, explaining how excited she is when disaster strikes.
All right, you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear it.
What was that?
Hannah Ann has popped open her bottle of champagne. Kelsey walks over to confirm her worst fear.
Excuse me?
It's true. She immediately runs into the bathroom crying and refuses to see Peter when he chases after her. Tammy walks over to Hannah Ann, who is just very confused because, like Peter, all she saw was Kelsey walk up, then run crying into the mansion. Tammy explains that this was a very special bottle of champagne, and the look on Hannah Ann's face, she realizes that she fucked up. Genuinely, I do believe Hannah Ann had no idea this was Kelsey's bottle, and we'll get into why, but just wait. Peter walks back over to Hannah Ann and is like, "Well, that was weird. Kelsey refuses to talk to me. Don't know what that's all about." And right then, Kelsey comes storming back out to let Hannah Ann have it. She says, "Don't try to play dumb, Hannah Ann. I brought this bottle all the way from Des Moines. You know what you did, Hannah Ann."
Don't try to play dumb.
I didn't know.
You knew.
I didn't.
Before Hannah Ann can even respond to that, Kelsey is off once again to cry into the night. This time, however, Peter follows her into another area where Kelsey knocks over a second bottle of champagne. Now, why was there a second bottle of champagne just sitting out there that no one claims? Kinda seems like Bachelor Production set out 2 bottles of champagne, told Hannah Ann that she could open one, just so Hannah Ann would accidentally open Kelsey's and cause Kelsey to have a huge breakdown. Just a theory, a Bachelor theory, but I believe it. Listen, Kelsey has had a rough night. At this point, she needs a swig of that champagne.
Okay.
I'm not a classy bitch all the time, so
There we
it's
go.
fine.
All right, sure.
All right, I get.
Oh,
When I saw this happen for the first time, I just thought, I am going to watch every episode of this franchise that ever airs now, even if it kills me. Because how good was that?
oh.
That's high art. Even though Hannah Ann is swearing up and down that she didn't know it was Kelsey's champagne, Kelsey is insistent. Hannah Ann knew that was her bottle of champagne and she opened it anyways. Hannah Ann tries to walk up and talk to Kelsey, but Kelsey is immediately like, "Get the fuck away from me, Hannah Ann. I don't want to talk to you." So later that night, Hannah Ann tries again to talk to Kelsey. So Hannah Ann walks up again and tries to talk to Kelsey, and Kelsey starts going, "Honey, I'm real, you're calculated. I'm tired of this pretty princess stuff." And Hannah Ann is trying to explain like there were 2 bottles of champagne, it was a mix-up, but Kelsey is like not letting her get a word in. And so eventually, after Kelsey calls Hannah Ann a bunch of names, Hannah Ann is like, "Okay, I respect your opinion, we're moving forward." And Kelsey says this.
We're moving forward.
I'm not, but because I'm not a fake bitch.
Listen, I understand Kelsey being upset. I cry so easily. I'm not one to ever judge about her having big emotions, but I think we can all agree that she didn't have to do all that. Not over a bottle of champagne, and certainly not over Peter. But before Kelsey can come even close to emotionally recovering from all of this, we have another rose ceremony. Hannah Ann and Kelsey do both get roses, but these are the women no longer with us. Ugh, it feels so wrong to have a rose ceremony in the middle of the episode, but we have a lot more content to cover. Our next group date is a Revolve fashion show with Carson Kressley and Janice Dickinson. These women must choose 2 Revolve looks to rock down the runway, and the winner will receive over 40 bags of Revolve clothes.
This is like Pretty Woman, like, but not the bad part.
I mean, screw the engagement at the end. Let's just make this the grand prize of The Bachelor from here on out. I mean, come on, I want that hat Hannah Ann is wearing right now. Oh, how'd that happen? I mean, I guess I'll keep it on. The women are very excited about this group date, especially Hannah Ann, because I mean, she's a model. This is gonna look great on her resume. But one woman in particular is struggling.
I'm meek and shy, so I'm probably gonna get lost in the crowd. If it's a room full of people, I'm
Victoria F. feels like she just disappears in a crowd, and she just doesn't know how to be confident in front of Peter and all of these other beautiful women. But she gets a pep talk from Kelsey and realizes that she can, in fact, slay the house down boots. Victoria F. walks the runway and she grabs Peter from the crowd and gives him a big ol' kiss. I love how Hannah Ann straight up looks like a Disney DCOM villain in this shot, outfit and all. Janice Dickinson picks Hannah Ann and Victoria Fuller for the final walk-off, and they must both strut their stuff in a dress only slightly uglier than the rest of the stuff we've seen up until this point. But unfortunately for Victoria F., Hannah Ann is quite literally a professional model, and she kills it. She is practically cutting Victoria up the way she's flicking that sequin skirt around. Hannah Ann wins, and Victoria F. runs out to cry.
Always her. I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. They can't. I'm done. I'm going home. I'm done.
It seems whatever confidence she had during that runway has gone right back down. That night, Victoria F. talks to Peter about how her confidence is really shaken from that day. She says that she doesn't know if she's cut out for all of this and the toll that it takes on her mental health, which, trust me, no one is cut out for this. This show is designed to make everyone mentally unwell. Even though she says that there's so many beautiful girls and she doesn't feel special, Peter assures her that he sees something in her. And even though he knows this isn't easy for her, he appreciates her putting herself out there. Now come on, Victoria, don't be wet from sadness anymore. Only happiness. Next, Peter pulls Kelsey, and what does she have there? Another bottle of champagne. Kelsey is basically trying to play it cool and act like she didn't have a giant meltdown yesterday, which in fairness is probably the best strategy, all things considered. But back on the couch, Hannah Ann is telling all of the other girls that she was up all night crying over what happened. We saw Kelsey was calling her names, it ruined her night, and Hannah Ann feels like she was bullied. Even though Hannah Ann initially thought she could put this behind her, she wasn't going to mention it tonight, Hannah Ann has to tell Peter how Kelsey made her feel. Hannah Ann sits down with Peter and tells him everything Kelsey said about her that night, and he is not happy about it. Pilot Pete does not tolerate bullying of any kind. The group date rose goes to Victoria F., but Peter pulls Kelsey aside afterwards for a quick chat. So Kelsey, would you say that you're a bully, perhaps? Kelsey does not exactly help herself with her answer. She's just like, Hannah Ann knows what she did. I don't like her and she knows what she did.
I didn't have a problem with her until she did what she did, and she knew what she did.
And Peter is like, well, Hannah Ann is saying that it was an accident and a misunderstanding. And Kelsey's like, I don't believe it for a second. But just because Kelsey doesn't like Hannah Ann and called her a bunch of mean names, that doesn't mean that Kelsey is the bully.
There's a difference between me saying not nice words to her face and constantly bullying somebody.
Kelsey walks back to the rest of the group and the girls are like, hey, Kelsey, doing okay? And Kelsey says, no, apparently I'm bullying people. The episode ends with the entire group of women just actively disassociating. the Champagne Gate drama is not over. Episode 3. We open with Kelsey and Hannah Ann in tears. Hannah Ann doesn't want people to think she stole champagne because she would never do that. And Kelsey doesn't think that being called a bully is okay whatsoever. The two talk in circles about this fiasco for far too long.
After the fiasco of the champagne stealing incident, you were calling me bitch.
We don't even see them like agree to disagree. They just move on from this conversation.
That was
It's not about
enormous.
the champagne.
Oh, okay, it's not about the champagne.
I don't even really like champagne.
I mean, it really is a fiasco. There's no other way to put it. The one-on-one this week is with Victoria P. Victoria P is former Miss Louisiana, and she's a nurse at a dermatology office. And from what we see on this date, she seems like a really sweet woman who really just wants the happy family that she didn't get as a kid. And Pilot Pete assures her that she deserves it all. Then they go and make out in an airplane because, you know, Pilot Pete, because he's a pilot. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Alea is wine drunk and letting everyone know that even though she used to be Miss Texas and she can be real prim and proper, she's low-key a freak, kind of a baddie.
You got a wild side to you? Yeah, dude. Bro, I get nasty.
Alea's giving the energy of a woman who saw like a drag show once at a bachelorette party, and honestly, we love that for her. Well, most of us do.
All I go off of is what I see in people. With Alea, I could tell something's off about that girl.
Sydney says something's not right about that girl. She's fake. Honestly, if being a little obnoxious after having a glass of wine makes you fake, lock me up, officer. Honestly, lock up most white women if we're being so serious. But the next morning, the girls are woken up by Bachelor Nation's resident bisexual, Demi.
I'm back, bitches!
Demi has brought her friends champagne and killer, and they have some lingerie for all the girls to wear.
We got these bags with our names on them.
Oh, yeah.
And inside of it was like a cute pajama lingerie set.
While they're on the bus driving over to this group date with Peter, Peter asks if these are these women's real pajamas.
Is this actually how you sleep?
He's really starting to make me question if the windmill story is even true at this point. So for the group date today, these girls must absolutely annihilate one another for Peter's pleasure. And of course, who should be in the final round but Sydney and Alea. Sydney's energy on this group date is not the kindest, you could say.
Having a history in pageants, I think Alea's gonna be worried too much about messing her hair up.
And this fight gets nasty. They are going in, but in the end, Alea wins.
And then she just starts to sit on me. What am I supposed to do? Elephant sitting on a rat. How are you gonna get up?
I genuinely believe that if Sydney had won this pillow fight, the course of history would be completely different. But here we are. We move on to the evening portion of this date, and Alea is feeling good. Kind of weird that Sydney was so aggro with her, but whatever. Alea's having a great time.
Sydney saw red and was like going at it. So I don't really know what's going on there.
Alea goes and has a nice chat with Peter, and Peter and Alea are feeling really good about their connection. This could be something. But then Alea and Sydney have this conversation. You like work at all? I have 3 jobs. Do you work?
I didn't know. Some girls are like, their job is being like Miss Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I totally get that. Like for Miss USA, you have to quit your job. Like you can't have a job.
Do you feel like you keep a lot of that in you to this day? Like the pageantry and the
Yeah.
training and all that?
Yeah, people tend to keep calling me out on that. Like you're always so prim and proper and perfect. And I'm just like, I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of been my life for 8 years. And I've always been a title holder. Like I've held several titles. And so I'm so used to being that.
Knowing what to say, the right thing to say, the right way to look.
And knowing how not to offend anybody when I'm saying things. And like, you know, if I don't want to answer a question, how to answer without answering. Like those things are easy for me.
Opening up and being your true core is kind of hard. You sound so rehearsed and so like on, you know what I mean? And if cameras, you're just like on. But if you come in worrying about how you're going to be perceived, then you're not going to be your real self to Peter. And like that's what he's here to find. It's like a real person. He knows what he wants. He's here to figure it out.
Okay, this may be an unpopular take, but honestly, I don't get what Sydney is on about at all. I think if Alea was truly some master manipulator and fake all the time, she wouldn't be openly talking about it with Sydney on camera. I think Alea is just kind of a bubbly person who acts a little more extra when the cameras are around, and that doesn't seem that weird to me. Honestly, it just seems like Sydney doesn't like Alea's personality and is trying to find some rational reason for why.
Do you like work at all?
I have 3 jobs.
But Sydney isn't done. Sydney sits down with Peter, and Peter's like, oh my gosh, Sydney, you're so great. Sydney's like, oh, wow, it's weird that you think I'm great because some other people you like in this house, you like way more than me, are the complete opposite of me. So, like, I don't even get why you would like me. And Peter's like, what do you mean, Sydney? And Sydney's like, well, you know, there are some people in the house who just act like 2 different people when the cameras are on, and I would hate for you to, you know, fall in love with a fake version of somebody. I won't name names though. And this comment makes Peter spiral. Remember, Peter was on Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette. He's seen firsthand how someone can fall for someone who is fake, acts one way to get what they want, and then treats people like shit behind the scenes. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. He needs to address this immediately. So, he sits down with the whole group and says, Sydney, say it with your chest. Who here is a fake bitch? I want to know. Sydney clearly shocked that Peter is putting her on blast like this.
Maybe Alea, like maybe you put on a little bit for just for the imagery of things.
Alea sits up and is like, well, we all live together. Does anybody else have this concern about me? No response. Peter is like, listen, ladies, don't be fake. Being fake is bad. Sydney, for being so genuine and real tonight, you get the group date rose. Once Peter walks away, Alea is like, what was all that about? Why did this have to be a thing with Peter? Sydney, we literally just had a conversation about this earlier. But Sydney is not backing down. She's like, Alea, come on. Just admit you're kind of a fake ass bitch. Don't deny it.
When the cameras are on, you do react a little too much and it looks a little bit fabricated. That's
You
the
don't know
only
me outside of this.
Alea tries to grab Peter and reassure him that she's here for him and that she's not being fake. But at this point, this is too much for Peter's mind to handle. The next day, there's no cocktail party.
Peter's gonna come over and join you all afternoon for a pool party.
Everyone knows that at a bachelor pool party, absolutely no one will be getting near that pool, and that is a damn shame. You only get one opportunity to play mermaids in the bachelor mansion, and I would not squander it if given the chance. But Peter comes over and he is just not bringing the fun pool party vibes. He is starting to doubt this whole journey. That being said, let's have a great party. Woo! He grabs Sydney to talk, who is holding her group date rose the entire pool party, by the way. And he says, listen, Sydney, I'm so sorry I put you on the spot yesterday. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. Meanwhile, Alea is talking with Hannah Ann and McKenna about how she has no idea where any of this has come from. She's asked everyone in the house and no one has said it's a problem. What Alea doesn't know is that Kelsey, Natasha, and Lexi have all gone to Peter and said, yeah, Alea does kind of act more extra in front of the camera.
All of a sudden, the cameras come on and like her voice goes up like 5 octaves. My girlfriend makes literally the best spicy margarita, jalapeno margarita.
Although I do think it's worth noting that Natasha and Lexi are Sydney's closest friends in the house by far, so not necessarily unbiased opinions here. Alea pulls Sydney to try and figure out what exactly was said to Peter, and that conversation does not go well. Sydney is like, do you have emotions, Alea? Are you a robot, Alea? You can't be happy all the time, Alea. Why are you upset, Alea?
Do you have feelings? Do you have emotions other than perfect?
Of course I do. I'm human.
You can't be happy all the time.
Why can't Alea be happy? Why is that a crime?
You don't care who you hurt in this process.
Hurting? I'm not hurting.
You hurt me. You hurt
Despite how bad this all looks, Peter and Alea do finally have a conversation and they seem to reach an understanding. Alea is here for Peter. Peter feels a connection. He doesn't want to just go off of what all these girls are saying, and that's that. Drama resolved. Or is it? Victoria P. Yes, that Victoria P, who just went on the 101. Victoria P reveals that Alea and her actually know each other because they both competed for Miss USA.
I probably had spent maybe like collectively 3 hours with her
like together even at Miss USA.
Even though they're not super close, Alea supposedly told Victoria P that they should not tell the producers that they know each other.
And I didn't really understand why. Because I was like, I don't want to lie, I can't lie.
And Victoria P just doesn't lie like that. She would never do that, not at all. Victoria P also critically says that Alea has talked about being excited about social media opportunities that come from being on the show.
Maybe she's not the one for you.
But
which, for the record,
better.
I think everyone who goes on this show in like the last 10 years is at least a little bit excited about possibly being an influencer after it. And I think for at least half of them, that's like the primary goal for going on the show. But if you actually say that out loud in this franchise, you're toast. You're done. You're not here for the right reasons. Go start your tequila business elsewhere. Peter is shocked. He just went on a great date with Victoria P. He trusts her. She seems so sweet. Why would she lie about something like this? So Peter pulls Alea again. And Alea really doesn't seem to pick up on the vibe of this conversation.
Are we going back to our spot?
Yeah.
I think this is like a sacred spot. This was like our first talking spot. We came to like a difficult talk in this spot.
Peter asks Alea if it's true that she asked Victoria to lie.
Did you tell Victoria or tell the producers you guys didn't know each other before you came on the show?
She says Victoria P and her are friends. Not that they've known each other for 3 hours. Alea says that they are friends outside of this. And because they were close and did know each other, Alea thought that them knowing each other would bar one or both of them from going on the show. So according to Alea, it wasn't for any sort of malicious intent. It was just so her and Victoria could both see if they were right for Peter. And although this isn't mentioned, I do also wonder if the drama from Colton's season of The Bachelor had anything to do with this, because that was pretty recent. During Colton's season of The Bachelor, Hannah Brown and this woman Kaylin were pitted against each other on the show, basically because they competed together in Miss USA and had a bunch of drama. And it became a big story arc for both of them on the show and made a lot of people not like either of them early on. Maybe Alea saw what happened with that and didn't want to give producers ammunition to pit her against one of the other contestants she knew, because it would probably end with them fighting. Just generally speaking, I'm all for not telling Bachelor producers things because they're not on your side. They aren't. But to Peter, this is the biggest betrayal. He can get past people like Sydney or Alexi saying Alea is a little fake, but Victoria P's words carry weight, and now he doesn't know what to do. He leaves the pool party without so much as dipping his little toes in. And now McKenna is crying. Wait, why is McKenna crying?
And I didn't get that chance to even express how I felt or like show more of me. I have so much to give and so much to offer.
I am absolutely convinced that McKenna stayed on the show as long as she did for her facial expressions alone. Give this woman her EGOT, because she looks like she's at the reaping ceremony for the Hunger Games in this rose ceremony. With 2 roses left on the table and McKenna and Alea roseless, Peter walks out of the ceremony. When he comes back in, Chris Harrison takes one of the roses away. It is time for Peter to really choose, and he picks
McKenna?
Alea is heartbroken, and she feels that her closest friend in the house, Victoria P, has betrayed her. And just when you think it's all over, we cut to Peter having a conversation with a producer.
I don't want to right now. I don't feel good right now. I don't feel good.
He regrets sending Alea home. He just did it because he felt like everyone wanted him to. Now what's he gonna do? Episode 4. The next day, the girls are all enjoying a sunny day at the mansion, celebrating the departure of Alea, when out comes Chris Harrison.
Yeah, come on in. We're making biscuits.
Biscuits? But it turns out making biscuits was just a trick, a clever ruse to get all the girls in the house at once. Chris Harrison announces we're leaving the mansion. Pack your bags, ladies, because we are going to Cleveland, Ohio.
Peter's gonna meet you in Cleveland, Ohio.
This episode of The Bachelor is most definitely sponsored by Cleveland, Ohio.
We walked downtown and it was just stunning.
I was not expecting Cleveland to be this nice.
It's a great city. It really is kind of like one of the best kept secrets.
The first one-on-one goes to Victoria F, which, as usual, is very upsetting for McKenna.
For him to not really see me, to not know my heart, like who I am, would like suck.
I I think it's just safe to assume for like your viewing knowledge that anytime a one-on-one is announced, McKenna is crying in the corner because she did not get picked. And the Bachelor producers are really trying to break this woman down. Victoria F though, Victoria F is terrified that Peter is going to make her skydive on this one-on-one. Given the Bachelor's track record of terrifying their contestants, it's not an unreasonable fear. Victoria F is literally having a breakdown in the car while Peter is just like standing on the tarmac, head empty.
Are we skydiving? No, I can't. I'm not kidding. I'm literally drooling. I can't like breathe.
But it turns out we're not skydiving. We're going in a plane. Again. It's almost like he's a pilot or something. Peter is taking Victoria Fuller to Cedar Point, the huge amusement park in Cleveland, and they have the entire place to themselves. Peter is just having the time of his life with Victoria, and he makes what will be an incredibly on-the-nose observation about their relationship.
Our relationship is just kind of like a roller coaster. We're doing that slow climb to the top, but it's steady, and we're getting close to the top right now.
Oh, Peter, just you wait. But that's not all. To end this perfect date, we're going to have a private concert because Peter knows Victoria F loves country music. And little does he know just how much Victoria loves country music.
We turn the corner. I see Chase, my ex-boyfriend.
What in the Tumblr YN fanfiction is happening right now? Do you think Chase Rice saw Victoria F in the crowd reading Catcher in the Rye and just instantly fell in love? But you can see from the look on Victoria's face and Chase's face, they are both mortified. Not Peter though, Peter's having a great time.
Are you two having a good time tonight?
I do think Victoria F's choice to sing along to the song is a lot. Yeah, she knows the song. It's probably about her.
Yeah, I'm lonely if you are.
Chase Rice, I hope you got a fat check for this nonsense. Because this is objectively the juiciest drama we've gotten just from a musical guest, the show also airs Peter and Chase making awkward small talk while Victoria F is breaking down with the producer. Victoria is panicking because Chase Rice told her not to go on the show. And even though this is an incredibly awkward scenario, I feel like if Victoria had just laughed it off and told Peter casually, this wouldn't be such a big deal. Everyone has exes, even country musicians. Actually, especially country musicians. Victoria having such a big reaction to it kind of makes it seem like there's something more going on here than maybe there is. After Peter and Chase start a Snapchat streak, Peter and Victoria are off to the dinner portion of their date. Peter is still having a grand old time.
Things keep going like this, you know, we could have Chase Rice singing at our wedding. There you go. You never know.
But Victoria has to tell Peter the truth. She has a really hard time getting the words out. But honestly, Peter's reaction to it all kind of slays me.
Chase and I used to date. Yeah.
No.
I feel like Peter and I are on the same wavelength right now, where he just thinks this situation is kind of funny, but Victoria F is like breaking down, so he has to contain himself. Victoria runs off to cry in the corner, and Peter goes over to comfort her. Victoria really just seems more insecure than anything, but Peter assures Victoria that she didn't do anything wrong, it was just an awkward situation, and we can all be happy and move on. The next day, 13 girls are on a group date, and Peter is real pumped about it.
Yes. Yeah, baby. Woo! Are you ready for some football?
He is making these women play full contact football. Well, most of them. Victoria P conveniently says that she has a back injury, so sadly she has to just sit on the sidelines and get massages from Peter, while the rest of these women get head trauma. But this game has some high stakes. The team that wins today gets to spend the evening with Peter, whereas the losers will get sent back to their sad Ohio hotel room to think about what they did. On top of that, they have to be mansplained to about how winning points good, less points bad, by a pro NFL player.
We can't let them run and make a touchdown. Because they make a touchdown, then they score, and then we're at a disadvantage.
She hears this and she says, okay, this is serious. You want me to bring it? I'll bring it.
If we win this, we get more time with Peter. We get to go to the cocktail party. That means everything to me. This is why I'm here. I'm here to win his heart. I'm here to get more time. I'm not going home.
Shan honestly has a future in the NFL because she scores all 4 of the touchdowns for her team. But you know who else didn't come to mess around? Deandra. There's 10 seconds on the clock. Deandra's team has 21 points. Shan's team has 28 points. Deandra catches the ball and she runs the entire entire way to the end zone.
It's a completion to Deandra. You're still up. You're still up. Go, Deandra. And there goes Deandra into the end zone.
I'm not even joking here. It was actually like an incredible play, and I would actually watch football all the time, only if it was Sheehan and Deandra playing. So it's a tie. All 13 women now have to fight over Peter at the cocktail party. Yay! Sheehan's team is pissed. They were like, stop the count. We were winning up until like 2 seconds before the game was over. This sucks.
Okay.
So the girls on the pink team are like, okay, Sheehan, you are our MVP. You are getting time with Peter first tonight, and if anyone gets in your way, we will personally tackle them for you. Okay, Sheehan? Well, it turns out these ladies aren't exactly true to their word because they let Victoria P steal Peter away without so much as a headbutt. Victoria P wasn't even playing. She was just snuggled up on the sidelines. Like, what the hell? But finally, Sheehan gets her time with Peter to explain how she really feels undervalued in this process. And it feels like every time that she goes to talk to Peter, her time is interrupted in favor of other women. And she's really not wrong either. Boy, it would suck if another woman who already went home came walking in the loudest footwear possible right now.
Shut the front door!
Wait, what? That's right. Alea is back. She has risen, like Jesus himself. Nothing says I'm here to set the record straight like a leather jacket. Alea means business. Alea comes in and interrupts Sheehan's time because, God forbid, the show gives Sheehan a single break. Alea and Peter need to talk. Right now. Alea says, listen, Peter, I feel like you let yourself be manipulated by the other women. Now it's time for me to manipulate you. I was shocked that Victoria P told you we barely knew each other. When that's just not the truth, Ellen. We planned a trip to Las Vegas together. There are pictures. We were texting up until we got on this show. I watched her win Miss Louisiana. She's my friend, Peter, and she stabbed me in the back. Well, Peter's gonna have to go talk to Victoria P about this one. Peter walks over to Victoria P and says, hey girl, Alea is here, and she's saying that you guys are friends? You said that you only knew her for a total of 3 hours. What's up with that? And Victoria P suddenly is like, I mean, I guess, well, we did plan a trip to Las Vegas together. Did I not mention that before?
Why did you show me that you weren't friends with her then?
I'm baffled.
I'm baffled because you literally told me something that like I had no reason not to trust her.
But also, Peter, I shared my heart with you, and I can't believe you would say all this to me right now. This is my truth, and just like that, you're taking Alea's side. I can't have it. Suddenly, Victoria P is too hysterical to give a straight answer. So Peter's like, Jesus Christ, okay, let's just all sit down together and figure it out together, shall we? Victoria P walks over to Alea and hugs her. The vibes of this conversation are so off. Victoria P is like wiping away tears in Alea's eyes while Alea is very straightforwardly explaining why it's very obvious that they know each other, and she doesn't get why Victoria would act like they were strangers and sell Alea out.
And that is what broke me beyond compare, and getting home and knowing that we have so many friends together.
Victoria P has absolutely no answers.
The other woman that spoke up in the house, I will say, like, they said the same thing. These people don't know me outside of this, but you do.
Interesting.
Now, from my uneducated perspective, it does kind of seem like Alea and Victoria P are kind of lying here. They both said that they had mutual friends. They said they went to Vegas together, but it doesn't seem like they hung out beyond that. They probably were not besties, and maybe Victoria P didn't like Alea as much as Alea originally thought. But to me, it kind of seems like Victoria P saw the writing on the wall, saw how everyone else felt about Alea, saw that Peter was conflicted about her, and took that opportunity to take out some competition, not anticipating that Alea would come back and confront her about it eventually. Meanwhile, back with the rest of the girls, they just saw Alea and Victoria P walk past, and they have no idea what's going on. Deandra says, I just don't get what's happening because Victoria P doesn't lie.
Did you say Victoria doesn't lie?
Yeah. You think she's a liar?
Savannah reveals that off camera, off mic, Victoria P was going around telling everyone that Alea was a terrible person, that she could not be trusted. But during the rose ceremony, Victoria P was holding Alea's hand and acting like her #1 supporter. And Savannah does not fuck with that. Peter honestly seems to have given up on trying to understand what exactly happened between Alea and Victoria P, so instead he just turns his attention to Alea. He says, Alea, listen. I made a mistake letting you go. I listened to everyone else instead of how I felt, and that was wrong. Alea, do you want to come back in the house? Alea says yes, as long as you promise, Peter, that we can put this drama behind us and just focus on us. This will turn out to be one of Peter's biggest mistakes in his run as The Bachelor. Last season, Hannah Brown with Luke P. Yes, she had enough reason to send Luke home much earlier than she did. We all know that. But she was, at a minimum, consistent. She told the guys that they didn't have to get along with Luke, but she wanted to figure it out for herself, even if that was an unpopular opinion. And when she saw this spiraling out of control in the house, she told the guys to stay in their lanes and not worry about the drama. The guys didn't listen perfectly to that, but there was at least some internal logic to Hannah's decision making. And importantly, Hannah Brown never celebrated Luke's shitty behavior. She didn't try to feed into it more in front of the rest of the group. Peter, on the other hand, walks back into the room, hand in hand with Alea, in front of 13 women who did not get to spend any time with him tonight, even though this was their date. These women have suffered concussions because of this man, and Peter picks up that group date rose and hands it right to Alea, who wasn't even on the date. I don't think Peter should have sent Alea home in the first place if he didn't want to, but if I was one of these women, I would be pissed. And they absolutely are. They are on the verge of unionizing at this point. Alea walks over to McKenna and Hannah Ann and says, hey girls, you're gonna have to catch me up on everything I missed. And McKenna says, oh yeah, well, Kelsey has the one-on-one tomorrow. And Alea's like, oh, I already know that. And I know that Victoria F hooked up with Chase Rice.
I know Victoria F had it yesterday. I know she was dating Chase Rice before the date. What? Oh, y'all didn't know that. But the internet knows everything.
Yeah, it turns out Alea has been deep in the Bachelor subreddit since she left the show, and she is back to stir the pot with this new information. The next day, all of the women are talking shit about Alea and Peter.
For him to give her that rose, I just felt was so disrespectful to all of us.
All this drama pushes all of us back.
But then Victoria F learns that Alea has gone around and told all of the women that she hooked up with Chase Rice. Victoria F takes her glass of red wine and storms into Alea's room. And here we see a very
Let's go.
Victoria F compared to what we
Let's fucking go.
Which you know, of course, demands another dramatic
Let's
performance.
fucking go.
We need to have a conversation. I heard that you were telling people that something about me and Chase leaked. Yeah, so can you explain a little bit more about that? And
Let's go.
why you felt the need to say that? Well, I had no idea that nobody knew.
Let's fucking go.
I mean, it was literally
Yes,
all
yes,
over
yes,
the
yes,
place
yes.
while I was at home.
Yes.
Well, guess what? No one
I
has
did it.
their phone here, so why would you expect people to know that? That's something very personal to me, and the fact that you think it's okay to go around to other girls and not to me first is absurd. Okay, well, I didn't go around telling everybody. So then why does everybody know? Do you not see that that's stirring the pot, which is why you left in the first place? You're manipulative. Manipulative. You are not gonna come in here after being sent the home for good reason. Oh my god. And treat. Oh my god. Is that appalling? I don't play this. You're fake. I'm not. And you may think that you're safe because you came back and you got a group date, Rose. I have some very choice words to say to Peter, and he's gonna know who you are as a person. So good luck, honey. It's wild because on one hand, like I said earlier, I felt like the Chase Rice thing was kind of a funny thing, an awkward thing. If I were Alea, I wouldn't have assumed it was some dark secret Victoria F was determined to keep from the other girls. I could get as Alea not really thinking
Fucking
it's a
did
big
it.
deal, but at the same time,